Hey everyone, Rico Reviews here. It's time for my Once Upon a Time recap. So to recap on tonight's episode, we see Belle and Rumple in the past, and Rumple has this baby, and Belle, and I think all of us are wondering where he got it from. I automatically assumed at first he killed the parents, but he needs the baby for something that we don't know yet, and he orders Belle not to run away with the baby or try to hide it. So Belle goes to her library and tries to figure out a way to hide the baby, and she finds something about the dark fairy. So it made me wonder, like, is the dark fairy Rumple's mother? And the reason why he's trying to contact her is because, she gave him up and abandoned him. And I thought the reason would be because fairies can't love, as we saw between Astrid and Leroy. But we find out that the dark fairy is Rumpelstiltskin's mother, and she definitely doesn't regret giving him up, which is weird to say, but I felt bad for Rumple in that scene. She has no love for her son whatsoever. She chose power over him, and it's kind of what Rumple's doing right now, is choosing power over love. We see that in present time, Belle and Killian and Emma are trying to figure out a way to stop Rumple, and Belle has that dream again when she sees her adult version of her son, and she thinks that something in a book will stop the Dark One, and Killian finds out that the book is written in squid ink, so they try to think of that way, like, to try to stop him. So Killian and Emma go to Rumple's shop, and Emma has that vision again. And it's basically the same thing, but the only thing that's new about it is that the sword is what's used to kill her. So she's kind of dealing with that, but Rumple confronts Belle, and he wants to use the magic to speed up her pregnancy, like Emma did with Zelena, and Belle tells him that if he does this, his son might love him, but she will never love him again, because Rumple wants a second chance. He wants to start over and not have his new son have the life that Bellfire had. So it's very interesting, because he seems to love his son, but he also wants to strip him of his fate. So it's like, what's he really choosing, power or love? So we find out that something happened at Granny's, and Belle's pregnancy is speed up, and apparently don't drink or anything in Storybrooke, because apparently onion rings and chamomile tea could speed up a pregnancy. So while Belle's in labor, she has another vision of her son, and the son says, you have to do, and I'm like, oh, don't tell me Belle has to give up her son. And her son's saying that no matter where he is, he'll know that his mom always loves him. So Belle actually does decide, in order to give her son the best chance, to give him to the Blue Fairy and send him to a faraway land that where they can't find him until things get better in Storybrooke. And Rumple comes, and he is heartbroken that happened. And Belle's explaining why she did what she had to do, because Rumple's like, you abandoned our son? But Belle's saying she gave him a better life. So I'm wondering, because Rumple said he wouldn't hurt Belle, but I'm wondering what he's going to do, if he's going to retaliate against Belle. But it's quite interesting, because Rumpelstiltskin's, in the classic fairy tale, you had to guess his name, and now he doesn't even know his own son's name, which is Gideon, by the way. He doesn't even know his own son's name, and I think he used his son's name for some kind of spell or some way to track him. So yeah, it's this episode was very predictable. I mean, almost every character, like I should say every female character on the show has given up their child in some shape or form. So the show's getting very predictable at this point. But Rumpel goes back to his shop and the queen is there. And as you saw, they had a falling out earlier. And because we saw last week that Rumpel wanted the queen to kill Zelena. And she couldn't do it. She didn't do it. And they are no longer on the same team. They are enemies now. And the queen is actually the one who sped up Belle's pregnancy. So the queen's actually mocking Rumpel, saying that I heard fairies make good mothers, and that's kind of like a stab at him. And Rumpel is like assuring her that he knows how to play this game, that he will find a way to defeat her. But yeah, the queen tried to kill Zelena, and Zelena does not have a great history of making alliances with people, as we've seen. And she almost succeeds, but Regina is there in the nick of time and actually saves Zelena and cleans up her wound. And Zelena is very grateful. She's thankful that her sister saved her, but she said she didn't come here to save her. She said that's what heroes do. She actually came for some magic to kind of help Belle's situation. And Zelena's like upset, saying like, you wanted to steal from me? And Regina's like, you wouldn't have given to me anyway. And Regina says how heartbroken she still is over Robin Hood's death and how she still blames Zelena for it. And Regina really hasn't had time to grieve Robin Hood's death. I mean, she's been dealing with Belle and Rumpelstiltskin and the Queen. And she hasn't really had time to grieve, and she's kind of taking it out on Zelena. And Zelena truly just wants somebody on her side. She wants somebody to love her. I mean, she was that desperate for love that she sided with the Queen. And if Zelena would have went to Regina and confided in her and sided with Regina, chose Regina over the Queen, then I think it would have been different. But now it seems like their relationship's never going to happen. And I'm just so sick of Adam and Eddie giving us false hope all the time and making us feel stupid. They said how Zelena and Regina are going to be roommates, and they're roommates for like, what, 30 seconds, and then they weren't anymore. Now they're enemies the whole season. And they seem like they destroy every relationship possible on there. In fact, the only relationship they haven't destroyed is Captain Swan. So I think they're showing a bit favoritism there. So I'm wondering what's going to happen next week. From the previews, it shows that someone uses a genie lamp, and Emma wishes that she was never the savior, and the Queen wishes that Emma's wish would come true. So we see, like, I guess, a different perspective, like if Emma never became the savior, and that would definitely change the character's past. And I'm wondering, because there's rumors that Robin Hood's going to come back because this alternate universe where Regina went into the tavern instead of running away from it. So, of course, she's probably going to have a family with Robin Hood, and they're going to be madly in love. And, of course, she's going to choose her life in Storybrooke. So, of course, Adam and Eddie are going to ruin that, too. So, yeah, this season's just terrible at this point. I've actually recommended people not to stop watching the show because I just think it's not the actors' fault. The actors are brilliant. It's just the writers. The writing is just terrible. It's predictable, and it's just heartbreaking to watch anymore. And like I mentioned before in my previous recaps, if I wasn't already 6 seasons in, I wouldn't be watching it. But now at this point, I feel like it's a chore that I have to do. So, yeah. If you guys want to check out Once Upon a Time, it is on Sundays, 8 p.m. on ABC. I hope you guys enjoyed my Once Upon a Time recap. And until next time, stay regal.